Just to add on to what Brian and Cecily said, I think the one difference, and all that is true, the one difference at a small firm, especially say where you might be one or two associates, is if a deal comes in at 4 o'clock on a Friday, any attorney will say, I'll work on that and I'll do that and so on. But if you're part of a bank of 30 associates and only 2 are needed and it hits your desk, I've never worked at a large firm, but dollars to donuts, there's going to be some other associate that might owe you a favor. And so if you've got someplace to be, you could buy yourself 6 hours by giving it to somebody else, or just having somebody else start it, or asking the partner, can somebody else look at this because I've got a commitment I've got to go to. In a small firm, you can't do that. It's just not possible. Either you do the work, or you've got to make, you talk to the partner, or the partner says, ask the client, see if that's okay. Well, you're never going to make that phone call. So I'd say that for me, that's been one thing, is that you've got your weekend plans and you're just kind of watching to see at 4 o'clock when that email comes in, because that will happen. So transactional side can be a little bit more, you can get that under control, but on a litigation side, you get served with something at 4 o'clock and it's got to be responded to by 4:30 or 5 or 11 o'clock Monday morning TRO hearing. You can't give that to somebody else in a small firm. That's going to be all you.
Now, when I practiced, billable hours were paramount. Quality of work mattered, but billables were how we got our money from our clients and how the firm kept running. So obviously, that's important at your firm. That's how you get paid. But do you track billable hours closely? Is that an important item when you're meeting and considering performance?
In my firm, not really. Yes, billable hours are the revenues we generate, but we get the best type of clients to have are clients who send you repeat business. The reason for this is because it takes a lot of time and energy to market yourself for new clients. I do a lot of speaking on legal topics. I do a lot of writing on legal topics. I go to a lot of programs and talk to people. That takes a lot of time. So if you can get a client who is satisfied with the last project you did and will go to you again and again and again and develop a regular relationship, that's very beneficial for your law practice. And therefore, what am I going to say next, everybody? I'm going to say it's the quality of your work. Because I have an associate who, we have a very flexible plan. His wife got a job on the East Coast, so he lives on the East Coast and he works at my law firm from there. But he went to Harvard Law School, the University of Chicago undergrad. He's the brightest guy I ever met, and he wants to work at a small firm for the quality of life. He bills very few hours, but the work product he turns out is magnificent. And that is worth so much to my clients to have that product. They can tell the difference. Clients are very astute.
I just figured out how to open up my New York office. We bill, and we track our time. Everybody has a little utility on their desktop, and we turn it on, turn it off, and all of us used to keep time on paper back in the old days, but now there's a number of programs that you can use. And at the end of the month, every month, we export our time to the mother computer, and it's all collected and given back to us, and we go through billing. Every one of us hates it every month, but you got to get those invoices out to the client, and that's how we do it. It's kind of a monthly grind.
Just to add on to all that, there are, and I'm sure my co-panelists are aware, there are also sort of alternatives to the billable hour. There's a lot of griping in the legal community about how to do that because of exactly sort of the grind that it feels like. So I've been trying to move some of my items to flat fees. Obviously, the larger firms can afford to take a stake in a company to start if that's their business rather than do the hourly billing or some combination thereof. for your own sakes, for the people that you work for, of course, billable hours are important. Whether they are first, second, or third, they're going to be, it's going to be a close race. But for your own sakes, and I think Cecily, kind of hit it on the head, client development. I mean, as you move through your careers, you might meet a billable hourly requirement at some firm, you might not. You might hit it on some weeks, you might not on others. Small firms, sometimes they don't even have a minimum billable requirement because they really want you to develop client relationships. But as you move through, presumably you will be either solo, small firm, large firm, you'll be moving through various incarnations of your career. Client development is essential because most of those clients will move with you if you are delivering that kind of product business. But in the meantime, when you're sitting there, your partners are absolutely going to want to know what billables are you billing because you've got to keep the lights on. It's always critical.
Yeah, I would just add that when I was describing what we do is that there's just 3 partners, and so each of us has to work enough hours to pay our expenses for running the firm every month, and then whatever we bill on top of that, we get to keep. And but if we had an associate, sometimes we haven't, we'd be looking at a more traditional formula like that, and that is, how much are we paying the associate, what's the overhead, and how much is this person going to bill out that's collectible, which is really important every month, and how much are we going to be able to make off that person.
So another frequent refrain that we hear about large firms is that at the beginning of your career, you don't have a lot of responsibility. If you're doing litigation, there's a lot of document review. If you're a transactional attorney, there's a lot of due diligence. I'm curious to hear about whether or not that's different at a small firm. When attorneys start their careers, do they have greater responsibility? David, let's start with you this time.
Sure.
Is that the case at your firm?
Well, certainly for me, I was on the phone with, so I've been at Pinnacle for 4 years, practicing for 18. So when I got to Pinnacle, I came with a few of my clients, but Pinnacle also had a lot of clients who had business needs that I was there to fulfill. And I was immediately on the phone with these clients. I literally remember day one, I was talking to 3 different clients. I was just given their phone numbers and told to call them because they need stuff. And so, again, I don't have large firm experience, but from what I understand, you don't get to do that with your large firm clients, certainly not on the first day. So if that's the kind of responsibility you want, or the kind of opportunity you want, then certainly, that's been my small firm experience. I'm not sure if I'm answering the question, but that's really my experience.
Yeah, it's an opportunity, and it could be a challenge for some people to have contact with the clients. And when I started out, I actually started out solo, hung out a shingle and did it the hard way. And my experience was that I did everything. And of course, I was talking to clients all the time. And but right now we don't have an associate at our firm. But if we did, we would need somebody who could manage client contact. And that means you have to have that kind of authority, you have to have the knowledge, you have to be able to talk to you have to have people skills. And if you don't have people skills, there wouldn't be a place at our firm, because we would need to have the associate be responsible for lots of client contact.
I don't know if this answers the question, but yes, in my firm, everyone will have contact with clients and will be involved in the integral assignment that we're working on. And Brian mentioned this, but the reason for this is, again, responsiveness to clients. So if I am out of the office and a client calls, I will, on every case or client matter I have a team. There's not just me who's familiar with it. I may be leading it, but I make sure that one of my associates or paralegals knows enough about it and stays in the loop enough to be able to communicate with the client or opposing counsel if I'm unavailable. And again, that goes back to what Brian was saying earlier about responsiveness. It's not that there's a double standard between big and small firms, because plenty of large corporations have gotten totally sick of big firms. Our client stable includes, Fortune 50 companies. Many of them know how to select small firms, but they expect all of their lawyers to be extremely responsive to their needs. And they try to be reasonable, but when they conclude a deal in Asia at 5 p.m., they expect you to draft the deal after 5 p.m. and have it ready the next morning. I mean, that can happen, for when Europe opens. It's a fact of life when you're a lawyer. It's all about responsiveness and quality.
Is there any limit your firm for for a young associate that have no client contact?
Honestly, so 3 years ago, I hired a new Golden Gate grad who knew nothing about our practice area, Stephanie Elkins, and she was having client contact almost immediately because you have much more, one of these questions on the outline is, is it more collegial, is it more, yes, it's absolutely more of a team effort. Everybody is invited to weigh in on strategy, everybody's invited to weigh in on everything about the case. I may make the ultimate decision on my cases, but I will go to my partners that aren't working on my matters. I will go to my associates. If they're working on something for me, they'll wander down to a different partner who's not working on it, because it's all about getting the best result for the client. Use all the resources that are available. Because there's a lot of lawyers out there, and every one of you will rise to the surface and have a successful practice if you provide the quality that clients are looking for. I totally guarantee that. I've been practicing for over 25 years, and I know that to be true. That's all that it takes.
So we all know how the recession has claimed a lot of jobs in the legal market, particularly at large firms. Some large firms have actually folded during the recession. But a lot of reporting has been devoted to the subject of how smaller firms are more able to actually compete in this climate. So I want to ask our panelists, is that true? And if so, why? Brian, do you want to start?
Sure. I think of legal services as being very broadly grouped into two stratospheres. One is big firms and big clients, and the other is everybody else. And we, as a small firm, there's a lot of things we can't do for large clients. We can't do huge litigation, and there's specialized knowledge issues that we can't do because they hire all the PhD attorneys, right? And so there's our client base is occasionally some of the bigger firms, bigger companies. But our favorite clients, our best clients, are regional corporations and some individuals. That's where we have our best, most stable relationships. So what do we offer them? Well, we offer them responsiveness. We're good at what we do. And for a rate, an hourly rate that is significantly less than what's charged in the firms. Our rates as partners are roughly on par with the rates of associates in the big firms. And I think what I charge is